delicious, by the way.
Yeah, they're not bad.
I should have put like 2 extra shots in here. Because it was like an extra shot for a gallon of whatever this is.
Of this red sticky substance.
It was an energy drink one. I was debating who did this. I'm sorry, that was very loud.
Do you know what the real measure of a quality drink like this is?
Pray
is
tell.
when you drink it, you immediately feel that your lips will stick together from
Correct,
the sugar. Yeah. That's how you know it's molto
also
bene.
when you can't taste
A daiquiri. I don't know why I forgot.
alcohol in it.
This is probably why I forgot.
This drink.
Yeah, I don't know if that's because it's expertly made and the alcohol is completely hidden, which means it's super dangerous.
Drink this
or
liquid.
it just has very little alcohol in it. I'm not sure.
I mean,
We do that on this podcast. We have daiquiris.
It's cool because now the entire podcast we're gonna have that like phlegm in the back of our throats that comes from all the
I
sugar.
straight up turned down. Sorry, I straight up turned down having some chocolate milk today for this podcast because I knew I would be
Guess
like,
what?
I'd be like, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima.
Stop this immediately.
It's quite enough. That's quite enough.
You can always brush your teeth after you have a nice.
Absolutely
treat
not.
Like that.
We don't do that in actually
No,
in our
it's
family.
back here. Like it's just
Sure.
It's actually
The
You can put the toothbrush.
the milk coating.
Well, it doesn't help that you're slightly lactose intolerant that you like to ignore that.
Yeah, milk and cheese are straight up the greatest gift.
Yeah, I have like
absolutely.
some of the worst heartburn in the world, but I'm gonna have just a tomato. I'll just eat a tomato
Ah, behold,
with a glass of orange juice
a
and
fruit
finish it with some
of the
pineapple.
earth.
I had like a quarter of a pineapple today, and I killed myself, but it was delicious. It was the juiciest pineapple.
And behold, hell came out of my throat.
Yes, correct.
And hell followed with him.
So,
Amazing.
what you been up to this week, folks?
Oh goodness.
You've been busy.
I've been
boy.
buzzy. I received news that my girlfriend got a great job offer, and she's going to be moving down significantly sooner than we thought.
Dun, dun,
Well,
dun.
that's a good thing.
Which is a very good thing, but it's also
But not for
very
planning.
sudden. Yeah, as far as planning goes, it is not great. But we just got her a car that she'll be able to use down here, which is pretty exciting. And I've got a lot of, I think, I've got a follow-up interview coming up later this week. And I'm very excited about that, but man, I have had time for little gameage. Although I did finish an entire run of 20XX before I came to this podcast.
Oh, I
That's
need to
pretty great.
play that game.
So good.
So
I finished
badly.
an entire run of what we're going to talk about on our previous episode. These are being filmed out of order, by the way.
That's good stuff. Yeah. What remains of Dear Esther?
What remains of Dear Esther? Yes. We will talk about that.
What
last
remains of Fire Esther? Just, I'm just gonna try to do as much as I can. What remains of Gone Fire Esther?
week. No, stop this. Have you seen the trailer for Dear Esther?
No, you send it to me. I want to play a game. I'm gonna play a game,
Just watch the trailer, man.
and I'll watch it. Then I'll play the game. Is that what you're saying?
No, it won't be that reductive. But it's an absolutely incredible trailer.
Cool. Just like the trailer for Assassin's Creed Revelations.
No,
Or is it Revelation? I've actually never, because it's like in the Bible, it's the book of Revelation, right? John's Revelation.
Oh dear, he's been there
Plural.
a while.
Plural. Got it. So this one is Revelations, not Revelation. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So good.
Well, Nick is doing adult things.
Yeah, what about you, Amanda? Are you doing any adult things? You haven't really accomplished much in the past week, I don't think.
You get to not do adult things right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I officially graduated with my bachelor's.
Congratulations.
So I am done with that and now contemplating a master's in a year because I want to kill myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Or
gonna
you
be
will.
pretty-
Because I
anyway.
thought I'm finally done with this, and now I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, but what you are actually thinking about playing a lot more gameage now, aren't you?
Yes.
You've been piling up. She's finally ready to start knocking off a bunch of stuff from her list. So
I'm very excited.
yeah, you finished Origami King today, right?
I did.
On the way over here, finished,
Right on time.
defeated the last boss.
Hey, 35 hours.
Yeah, that's a
So-
decent
It's a
size
big
game.
boy. It's a
More than I
beautiful
can
little
say.
game.
Yeah, me too.
Did you start painting any minis?
No.
That's going to commence. Really, everything that she wanted in life is about to commence.
Yes.
Can I
More
be
money,
there
more time.
when you start painting minis?
Yeah.
I'll bring my own, the ones that you got me for my birthday.
Look, she's riding
Now-
her first bike.
So I lent her my set. There's not much of the base colors left, so you have to bring your own paints too.
You have some of your own
I've
paints.
got plenty of paints. I
Yeah.
don't think they're necessarily the mini paints, but they'll
Yeah, they'll work.
work.
And I gave her all the base colors.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
as
have
well
those.
for a little gift.
Little
When the world isn't on fire anymore, there is a little gaming store next to where we are that actually does workshops on mini painting, and it's free. Yeah,
Okay.
you just have to bring your minis. So
I think
BYOM.
it's like $3. No, it's the cost of the mini and like $1 or something. I thought.
I guess that's. I mean, that's.
No, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you don't have your mini, it's like less than $5.
Exactly.
Maybe whatever. It doesn't matter. It's super cheap if it costs anything at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where I got those. They have a huge selection of Reaper's catalog on the wall. Like all 4 walls are covered with minis. You've been there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
It's cool stuff.
Another adult thing that me and Zack are currently doing is also trying to sell our house and get into a new one.
It's super easy and not stressful at all.
Mhm.
Yay!
Can't wait to do it.
Yeah,
Actually, I really can't wait to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, man, it's we're honestly really excited. Everything's kind of falling into place way better than we thought it was going to. So we're just hoping it stays like that. It's gonna be good stuff. Nick, you dropped your chopstick.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you were eating with it, right?
Yes.
That is how you chopstick. You stab.
That 1 grain of rice, so yummy. Chopsticks
scoop
are actually
2 or 3.
fantastic, though.
I eat with chopsticks more often than a
Yeah,
fork.
like it's really.
Because I've been eating a lot of cup of noodles and
Yeah.
also just
But also
take
just,
out pad
like,
thai.
It's when someone taught me how to actually eat ramen was one of the greatest moments of my life. Like I felt in that moment that I learned more than I had up until that point, because I always eat ramen. You know, you get it, you eat whatever's in there, slurp up the soup when you're done. No, that is not correct. You need to eat it as fast as humanly possible. You need to straight up eat it as if there is no other purpose than the sustenance of the ramen. You'll still enjoy it, the taste. But this is like, if you watch people eat it, they'll be slurping and shoveling the food into their mouth at the same time. It's a spoon in one hand, chopsticks in the other. It's an art. It is just so beyond.
I'm going to take to YouTube
Yeah.
and find out what this is.
It's super good, and that's how I eat ramen now. Welcome to the Unpatched Gaming Podcast, where we share games. I am your host, Zack Short, joined by
Tyler Barrett.
and
Nicholas Short.
we got a guest today, my lovely wife.
Amanda Short.
That's her name. That's correct.
That's her.
And for those that don't know, Nick is from behind the camera.
I
That's
am.
our Nicky boy.
Yeah, he's the AV dude.
I might not call you that again.
The last 2
Yeah, please
episodes, one of which we haven't recorded yet, and the other which we have
That's
already.
just how good he is. We haven't even recorded it, and he's already the AV guy.
Already
for it.
there.
Wow, super impressive. But yeah, today we get to talk about something brand new, basically. Something that has
Yes.
just come out.
Yes, indeed.
We are talking about Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario, the Origami King. We are really excited to talk about these games. Let's start with Paper Mario.
I will largely sit out of this one because I haven't had time.
No, that's
I
fair.
booted it up. I learned how to play a video game for the first time because it's
Gosh.
a Nintendo game.
I told you to not judge it based off of the
I'm
first
not
2
judging
hours.
it based on that. I know better. But you know, that's a huge sticking point for a lot of Nintendo games for me, is that they treat you as though you've never played a video game. But who else is going to teach people who've never played a video game?
I guess that's
You
fair.
know, I gotta. Sorry, bumping my mic. I guess I have to provide a little bit of leniency there because nobody
Sure.
else does that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Except for
definitely-
every other JRPG that exists.
Well, I mean, like they literally tell you, "Oh, this is how you save your progress. You should do this as often as you see one of these
That's
boxes."
true.
Nobody would know that. Like Katie was watching me play Breath of the Wild, last time I was playing Breath of the Wild, and she's like, "What is that green blob?" And we know what a green resource is in a video game. It's stamina. Doesn't matter where it is on the screen. If it is a bar that depletes and it's green, it's stamina. It's blue, it's magic, it's red, it's health. Because we've developed this literacy for the medium, and nobody else. I mean, there's many people that have it, so I guess somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, and in defense of... Oh, go ahead.
But there are some instances, at least in Paper Mario, is that they'll say, "Oh, hey, we're about to battle. Do you want this tutorial?" And you can put yes or no. And
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
And we'll get one thing that I like is the boss fights, which work differently than other battles. Basically, we'll talk about the battle system, but in the boss fight puzzle, you can make part of accomplishing the puzzle hitting a little hint box, or you could not. You could just try to beat the boss without the hint boxes, but they're there if you're getting stuck on the boss and don't know what to do. So pretty cool. It's fun, but. Yeah, let's talk about Paper Mario. Amanda, you, out of all of us, are the only one to have completed it.
Oh, yeah.
I
So,
have
just tell me...
completed it. I've had my heart broken.
Yes, you have.
And I have a love-hate relationship with this game now.
Fantastic. So what is your kind of final verdict as the only one of us who has actually completed it?
I mean...
It's got to be a numbered score, please.
Yeah,
a number scored?
yeah,
God.
0 to 113. No, I'm just kidding. Just tell me...
No,
she's actually
yeah.
going to do
Please don't
it.
give us the number.
She's going to do
Let
it.
me do math in my head. No, I mean, I have a very odd taste in games.
Sure.
I think.
Almost as odd as Tyler's.
She's got a... Is it fair to say... I don't mean to be...
It's really
mean.
weird, man.
Is it... You got a... It seems to be a pretty casual taste in video
One of
games.
her favorite games of all time is Fallout 2, which she has played beginning to end. I think it's just really
it's
weird.
It's not a casual game, for sure.
She doesn't like games that are, like, I guess, over the top difficult, but she does tend to like more casual games more than most of us, I'd say, but she has these games that she just, delves really deep into.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, if a theme catches your attention, that's gonna not just pull you into a game more, but, like, make it front and center. Is that fair to say?
I think it's more
I'm
of the
the same
story
way.
that really catches me. If it has a really good story, then I'm totally invested.
Actually, that seems really accurate. Yeah.
Because I've played Mario games before. I've kind of gotten bored with them. I would like to revisit some because I think I have not given them a chance. But Paper Mario, the Origami King is actually the first one I've played. That has that weird story in it of this Mario world. And I absolutely loved it.
And this is your first Paper Mario game that you've played all the way through, right?
Yes.
Because you've played a little of Sticker Star, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and then I think some life events came up that I stopped.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Color Splash as well, but not as fully and completely as I have done with this game.
Okay.
Yeah, and my history on the other side is I've only played Thousand Year Door. That's it. That's my only experience.
And even I remember Thousand Year Door. Like, there are very specific parts that... I don't remember the rest of the game, but I remember that game, certain parts of that game, better than games that I've played, like, this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a lot of fond memories of
Thousand Year Door is
Thousand Year
next
Door
on
is
my
incredible.
list.
Yeah, we're looking for a way to play it. I can't find my Wii anywhere, so I'm thinking of finally just picking up a GameCube again and playing it there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So,
sorry.
yeah, I think my tastes are very story driven, and that's usually what brings me in, for sure. Yeah, Paper Mario. So where do we want to start with that? Because it's huge.
I would like to start with the music.
Yes.
Oh,
So I've only played about
my
45 minutes of this
goodness.
game. You mentioned... I'll talk about myself for a moment.
Okay, do it.
Please, music is super important to me. And I'm really looking forward to the end of the year where Zack has decided to indulge me. And...
I give my
Talk
blessing.
about your soundtracks.
yes,
I am allowed.
We'll be doing a pretty decent sized segment on top 3 soundtracks this year, and yeah, it's just a big deal to me.
Mine will be the Gamer Bro Chad picks, and he'll pick stuff that's actually interesting and sounds good. So,
I think Paper Mario has to be up there, though.
It's not going to be up there for me. I've listened to some of it outside of the game and some of it in there, but you mentioned that you said something similar to me. You really wanted me to experience the music in this game, and the title track started playing, and I was like, Zach, let me handle the music. And it was maybe 10 seconds into the game, and I was like whistling the Peach's Castle thing.
Yes.
Like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And then they're like flying away in the beginning as the castle's being risen up, and it's a remix of the Galaxy theme.
Yep.
So I'm sorry that I was so dismissive.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, what's cool... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's just the music. And I think you'll get this more and more as you go through the game.
Yeah.
It just captivates you with the environment. It matches the environment perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, to a T.
But then the battle theme is the same theme, but changes and gains new rhythm and variation, and it just changes to match the theme of the environment you're in. And it's always that same core, like you can hear it in there, like classical music, constantly growing on itself, but you can hear it in there, but it changes to match the environment. And oh man, that battle theme, I just start jiving, man. It is so hopping. I love that.
That's how you jive, by the way?
That is, in case for anyone, any other white boys need to learn how to jive, I got it down.
Yeah, I just, because like there's different environments. There's like a Japanese environment. There's
yeah, is he like wearing a kimono or something?
Mario?
Yeah.
I think
No.
Isn't there is a like screenshot of something like that though, isn't there? I think there is.
I saw a picture of him dressed in something.
Yeah, it's called Shogun Studios, and it's basically this kind of feudal Japan film set.
Yes.
Sorry, not film set.
Theme park.
Theme park. And it's very silly and one of the best environments in the whole game. Really? For sure. But
I want to go to the coffee shop. People have been talking about the coffee shop.
It's so nice, man.
Oh my god, the coffee shops.
Yeah, it's really
Tell me about the coffee shop.
Yeah, please. This is probably one of the highlights of the game.
I forgot. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. I found all of them. I have actively gone out and find these coffee shops. They're just amazing. And like one of the first ones you go to.
So they're hidden in the world though, right? Like,
yes.
And you have to, I believe, throw the confetti that you collect, right? Because that's how you fix the world. And you have to create the door with the confetti, right?
Yeah. So
so it's a speakeasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
But Nintendo can't do alcohol, so it's a coffee shop.
Isn't it called like Koopa Joe's or something?
It's different for every single place.
I've only found the one so far.
Listen, young one, you do not know about the coffee shops.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Please enlighten me. Oh, master.
So there's like, of course, the Koopa one. It's
Koopa
like,
Joe.
Yep. You found it in this dungeon, and and this is the first time we ran into it. And there's also other doors that are very similar, so you really don't know what you're getting until you throw the confetti on it.
Yeah, it might be a fax machine that faxes you to a different location.
Yes, because you are paper. And that is...
So is this consistent? Is that a consistent mechanic? That's a fast travel mechanic?
Yes.
No, the fast travel mechanic is pipes, but there's also the fast travel system, which gets you to different, because the fast travel system is not like, it's just like I think 6 warp pipes, or like 6 or 7 warp pipes that are for each major area.
So it's just how you get into the area, right?
Yeah, it's how you get into the area, but these ones are just kind of randomly in different places, and you can fact yourself a little bit more diversely, I guess, to like different spots within those locations. But they all connect to the central hub of the researcher, who gives you new items like a little toad finder, or my personal favorite, lamination, so you can be invisible to the enemies because you're laminated
and you're shiny. So yeah, the coffee shop. So one of them, it's like the first one that you run into. It's so cute because you sit there and it's like the little guy comes up to you and he's like, "Oh, do you want a cup of Joe, Mario? I'm surprised you found this place. We try to keep it hush hush." And so you buy your coffee and you're sitting there, and there's a couple Goombas, and they're talking about their shifts at work.
Yeah.
Of how they have to constantly walk around in a straight line. And, like, why doesn't Bowser let us do different lines? Like, why can't we zigzag? Why can't we do something different with Mario? And then they look over and they see Mario and they're like, oh. Yeah. And, like, there's just so much personality. One of my favorites is, it's one of the last ones. But you go in there and the guy's like, and you find this in a very extravagant place. It's the spa place in this game. So there's a bunch of hot springs. It's very flamboyant. It's very hard to find. You spend like at least an hour in the game getting certain tokens to find this area. And so you sit down and it's like basic black coffee. And throughout the whole game you get like a mocha latte. Shanghai Deluxe coffee, like just these random things. But it's just like plain black coffee, and you're like, what? Okay. So you drink it, and like nothing happens, which is totally out of retrospect of what these coffee shops are. They're just so extravagant. So it's like, okay, that was kind of boring. I'm a little disappointed because it's like my favorite part almost. And so I like sit back down thinking something is wrong. And it was like, oh, do you want a black coffee? And it's like, oh, whatever. No, I don't want a black coffee. I just want to go. And then he's like, oh, do you want the love one? What? And you're like, hell yes. And you click it.
Hell yes, love coffee.
And the whole room turns pink. And, gosh, what is the pink one?
Birdo?
Birdo. So Birdo comes down on this heart and just from the ceiling and just like the raunchiest Nintendo can get with music.
Oh my god, I can't
And she
wait.
jumps off and just kisses Mario, and a little heart falls into your black cup of coffee.
Cool.
And then she
And
goes.
it increases your health like a heart
Oh
that
yeah.
increases your health.
So every
Okay,
single
cool.
time, yeah. Well,
No, it just heals you.
Yeah, every coffee heals you completely.
Oh.
So
But you find heart pieces to increase your health, right?
yes.
Does this... Is
No,
this
this is-
secret
It's just
to
a
get you
little
another-
origami
okay.
heart. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
But the coffee places, when you drink coffee, it heals you entirely. So the
Okay.
game isn't going to be like, we're not going to make you just spend money for these little random encounters. You get healed.
But I think you hit the nail on the head for what this game brings, and what Paper Mario overall has pretty much been consistent. I haven't played Sticker Star or Color Splash, which seem to be the main points of contention, but even then people point out the humor and the just joy. Like, they're able to bring such imagination and the most hilarious... My favorite part of the game so far, I'm about halfway through, is... Well, one of my favorite parts of the game is you get to Shogun Studios, and to get to the boss, all the toads are like tied into this theater seating arrangement, and there's a special spot for you at the front, and basically the bad guy is a rubber band guy, and he's rubber banded all the toads, and they have to watch his play because he's an artist, and he wants to present his masterpieces. And so you go up on stage and participate in these silly little mini games with these paper mache bad guys, like the Wild West, and it's like, this town ain't big enough for the two of us, and you get this big old like pop gun, and you have to destroy them, and just pure joy. You're just eager to get to the next level and see what else this game is going to do.
Yeah, and then one of them was like Grease. So you're like,
yeah, and like the turtles come in and they're snapping, It's so good.
And then there's another one that's Swan Lake, and you're just going up
West
on
Side
these.
Story, right? Isn't that it?
Oh yeah, West Side Story. But like each level, and then like the last level, you're in Swan Lake with all of these Shy Guys.
Yeah, they're like twirling around.
Yeah, they have little tutus,
Oh my
and
gosh.
Mario dances with them. So he's doing like pirouettes and like all of this funny little
Well,
stuff
he's
with
destroying them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pure delight.
It has so much personality. I know some people are kind of like, oh, the characters aren't well developed. I disagree. It has so much personality in the world.
Yeah, and I believe, from my understanding, watching a lot of videos about this stuff, what people are angriest about Sticker Star and Color Splash are the removal of original characters. Like, everybody who's a toad looks like a toad. Everybody who's a Bob-omb looks like a Bob-omb. Everybody's Goomba looks like a Goomba. Instead of the originals where they vary them up, give them crazy mustaches stuff, or just have totally original designs.
Or just like a super voluptuous Boo.
Yeah, that's... I mean, just stuff like that. And this game does something interesting where you are engaged even though they are just that. Like, they fit in the world, and each one has personality. Like, every Bob-omb is like, like, oh, what are you guys doing? We just want to make an impact, man. And like, like little things like that. And you meet a Bob-omb who doesn't have a fuse, and he's just super chillax, and he gets lost. You have to go like find him. He's always like rolling down.
Okay, but starting with that Bob-omb, which his name's Bobby.
Bobby, God bless Bobby.
The
Best character in the whole game.
Should we just cut his
Okay.
little
I know.
Yeah, just snip it
little
off.
fuse off?
Exactly.
Is he just a
A
Bob-omb
without a fuse.
okay.
Yep. And like I really didn't even notice it until a certain pinnacle point in the game where he finds a fuse. And I'm like, wait, he didn't have a fuse this whole time? I didn't even notice.
Because you haven't really seen any other Bob-ombs until this
yeah.
point.
Ah.
He's the first one you encounter.
But just talking about the quirkiness of this game, like you kind of meet him when you're trying to go to the next streamer, which the streamers are what the Origami King is using to hold up this castle. And so you're following the streamers. That's your primary goal through most of the game, is finding the streamers to release Peach's castle. So you're going up, and there's this little ball bomb that's sitting there, and he's kind of looking at Mario and Olivia, who is the princess, the origami princess. And he's like, kind of starts talking to them, and he's like, yeah, no, I have that, that memory problem, like ambrosia. just the quirkiness of what he was saying, and he's like, you mean you have amnesia, you poor thing?
And he's like, yeah. She's like, you want to come with us? He's like, yeah, sure. No, actually, I'm good. I don't need to come with you guys. And she's like, okay, and immediately goes back to the window, and he goes, kind of scoots a little closer, gets her attention. I mean, I can go with you guys if you want. He's got so much personality, and you get incredibly invested in his character, and
that seems to be unanimous.
Yeah, Bobby.
Everyone seems to love this guy.
Yeah, he's and nobody has done that with a Paper Mario game since Thousand Year Door.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's cool that they do it without even having to make him unique and originally designed or something. Like, sure, I'm one of the guys who love Thousand Year Door. I want that stuff again. But it's so cool to see them present just the Mario universe with the default characters and give that heart and emotion and character.
What's the reasoning there, though?
There's the most popular answer tends to be that Shigeru Miyamoto was the reason. Mario should never be about story. Like, just stop doing original stuff with the characters. Just pull it back, make it simpler. That's not exactly true. I've done a little bit more research on that. There's a great video on YouTube. I can link it in the podcast. This really smart guy, he goes and actually gets a lot more detail and content from other than just that interview and pinning it all on him. Like, there's a lot of reasons that went into these decisions. And a lot of them are intentional just from the design team. It's not just one guy's fault. Makes it sound like it's a bad thing. I haven't played those games. I can't tell. But the fans that are disappointed in them, there's a lot more going on there.
Okay.
But, yeah, I also appreciate that the environments are not just fire environment, grass environment, like that kind of stuff. They're extremely varied. Again, the Shogun Studios, there's this huge desert oasis town. You know what I mean? It's not just like the desert area. It's like this vibrant town. It's this luxury hotel in the middle of it. There's the I'm blanking. Oh, just a cruise ship. Like, there's this part of the game where you just go out in a ship and you just can explore the ocean.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched a couple reviews just so I could know about the game a little more. That looks great.
Yeah, and I think,
is that just straight up Wind Waker?
It's not even close to that big, obviously, but you just straight up just kind of drive around. Oh, there's a little island, and we hop off and explore it. So yeah, very Wind Wakery. It's really nice, but and I think you've definitely played enough of the game, I think, to back me up on this one. Is the exploration is my number one favorite part of that game.
The reason I'm not very far in this game at all is because I have committed to 100%ing every area that there is. So if I haven't gotten the banner that says all toads discovered, then I'm not going anywhere. Like, there's one where you have to remove a banner in the next area before you can get that toad. And so toads in this game, they're hidden all over the place, and you have to find them, and you can pay them during combat to help you out, heal you, and hit the enemies and things like that.
Just hiding, though, right? They're smashed under a rock, or they've been folded into a piece of paper, thrown in a trash can.
Or they're in little origami shapes, or it's a fox. One of them, I went, the little bell thing that you get some point in the game that says, "Oh, there's a toad nearby," went off, and I was looking all around. And I finally accidentally fell behind these bushes, and there's a little mole that comes up through these holes that you have to hit the holes to close them, and then finally hit him, and he comes up, he's like, "Oh, thanks." But it's just super engaging, fun, unique little ways to find these toads
and just to hide them.
Yeah, exactly.
The people who come up with those hiding places.
I don't know. And there's one you had to hit a wall, and 6 of them. You have to hit it enough just for these things to come out, and you're like, "Can I stop? Are they done?" But like I was saying, there was one behind a banner. You have to remove the banner in three, I guess, sections down, and I was looking all around, and I was like, "Oh, there's one more. I don't know where he is." So I found everything that there was. every inch of this place I searched, and
you and I are usually completionists. Either you just it's such a rich environment,
is.
and it's so fun to explore. That is the main draw of the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and it makes you paranoid too, and but in a good way, because it's like, I know, like, you know, like in the forest, which is one of the first areas that you find yourself in with Olivia, and you're like, you're already programmed that a toad has to be hiding somewhere, so you're hitting like every single tree as you go through this forest, and you're like, okay, there's a toad. Nope, there's a toad. Oh, sweet, I got a mushroom. Okay, there's a toad, and then like, oh yeah, there's a toad. And you're so ingrained from that point forward that even a tree comments when you hit him, and he's like, oh, why do you keep hitting me, dude? Like, what is your problem?
Do you just have this compulsive need to hit things with hammers?
But then the last tree in the forest, you hit it, and a toad pops out, and you're like, yes!
See,
I was paranoid!
Vindication!
And the toad even says, thank you, man, for hitting every single tree in this entire forest to find me. Like, it's just... But yeah, and like, I think the confetti aspect is very fun. Like, having to recreate or kind of fix the world that the Origami King is ruining.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, paper mache-ish, you know, like you can see the wires underneath the world that are like, you know, the paper is built on, and you use confetti, and, you know, the idea is it's all paper. Like, you can just use it to rebuild the world, and so you hit things with hammers, you find little bags of confetti, all enemies drop confetti, and you just throw the confetti out to fill in these gaps. It'll reward you with coins. Sometimes it'll reward you with, you know, a new path somewhere.
Or toads.
Or toads. The most important reward there can be.
Are there 940 of those?
They're not as hard to find as Korok seeds, I promise. My friend found all of them with no guide.
God, does he have a life?
I really would argue that he has more of a life than any of us could ever imagine because he's done that.
As I play more and more through the game, because like I know I've seen some things that people are like, well, why is like the paper ripped up from the world? Like, because they don't like the confetti, which I think the confetti is very fun. But then as you further go along in the story, and you kind of the actual plot unravels, and you get more
Unfolds.
of it. The Origami King is ripping up the paper to make his goons and stuff like that. So that's why the world is destroyed, because he's having to rip all these paper.
Oh, see, I haven't gotten there yet. That's cool.
To make his little like paper mache.
Yeah, he'll like fold them up into origami, you know, enemies for you to fight or whatever.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
So
I'm not finishing
Sorry.
the game. No, just kidding.
hey, I am not dropping some.
I'll put a
major-
banner that says spoilers ahead.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Yes, there be not that many.
There be spoilers.
I'm avoiding because
Yeah.
again my heart is still broken.
Yeah.
But
Some really emotional moments, man.
So-
the first right, because again, like 45 minutes in, when you encounter Peach, like you encounter her maybe
she's the
3
creepiest
times.
thing in there.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like the sound, because there's the text sound, right?
I was gonna say, this has to be brought up. The sound design in this game alone, like, don't forget the music. The music aside, in this specific situation, the sound design is incredible, and I noticed that immediately as people started talking. Like, everybody sounds different as they're talking, their text is popping up.
Yeah.
But then you get to Peach, like, not only is the sound different, but, like, the words are skewed, and it's really uncomfortable.
But also the music that plays with
Oh.
her, it's
like that
creepy.
low
She's like,
bass.
"Don't you want to be folded into glory?"
Yeah, and it's like, because usually the
Yeah,
the
'cause
sound
her
is,
feet are like ding,
you know,
Yeah.
ding.
but it's like, it's like an old lady on a typewriter, you know, just like tick tick tick, must become human. Like,
I really want to say yes to all of her answers.
yeah.
And so I said yes to the
I did too.
like
yeah.
the second question that the prince asked
You
you
guys
right
are
at the beginning.
best.
Well, I said no when I first encountered her, and I was like, wait, I should have said yes. So I said yes to the prince, and he's like, don't trick me.
Oh.
It's like, I know you're Mario. You're the good guy.
Like, exactly.
Is that why he taught?
If
What are
we're-
you doing? Come on, Mario!
My name is the Prince Ali.
I mean, just imagine a Justin Bieber origami,
Oh, absolutely.
and you have King Ollie.
Yeah,
Bustin' Jeeber on Origami World.
And like, I don't know, like Prince cosplay.
Yeah. You know what's funny, and I think it's very indicative, is that we haven't brought up really combat that much yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the biggest point of contention
Oh yeah,
in
we're
the
saving
game.
it, man.
Yeah, this is the biggest point of contention in the game.
Wait, can I mention one thing before we leave the main?
You mentioned a half.
Before we
Please.
go,
You are the most. You have the most authority here to say whatever you want about this
Okay,
game.
my
Let's stop
favorite
here.
quote, and still in the entire game, is in the first section, and Nick knows what I'm talking about. Is so you drive up with Luigi to the castle because you were invited to the origami party,
And of
you're
course,
like,
you're
"Oh,
in
sweet."
Luigi's kart racer, right?
Yes. And so you go in, and the doors lock behind you in her castle, and it's super creepy. And Luigi's like, "Oh, I know what to do in this situation when it's creepy. I need to find Mario, right, Mario? Let's just go find Mario." And like he goes on this rant, and then he's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do now because Mario's back."
Mario knows how to fix things. Let's find Mario. Oh, Mario.
What do we do, brother? Like, it's just the best.
Just still my favorite, but
It's just, but it's moments like that. The humor, and that's the one thing that I've heard consistently never fails throughout the series for everybody. The humor is always on point. Really creative, fun, funny stuff. So, and this is there's no failure for that here. It's fantastic.
Good.
So-
Happy to hear that.
so the combat.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, it's
Control.
very puzzle based, so there's no RPG elements in terms of the combat, aside from you have items that you can use and choose between.
Yeah, I think one of the missteps that people are taking with this game is expecting an RPG when it never said it was.
I do believe that's a good point to make, is that a lot of hate against any new Paper Mario game comes from...
This demand for 1,000-year door.
And I want that. Like, because I think...
I'm just I'll be happy for just a re-release. Doesn't even have to be a remaster.
Yeah, I am fine with that,
Come
too.
on!
Give me a Switch release for 1,000 Year Door. HD it.
That would be nice, but even if it were just a straight-up port, I'd be fine.
Yeah, so for me, I get it, because that's, one of my favorite games. I love that game. It's my first true RPG that I played all the way through, and I loved it. It's fantastic. But that being said, taking out those RPG elements, and they did it even in Super Paper Mario, which is a controversial choice for a lot of people, but it didn't lose the heart of Paper Mario, that creativity, that funny character moment kind of stuff in there that really drives the series, and the more focus on the story and I'm gonna say it again. Sorry, characters, just the characters. Even if they're just, a Bob-omb in this case. Like, you made a Bob-omb my favorite character in the game.
Are there other good characters in this game?
Yeah.
So there is Professor Toad, who is wonderful, and he's hysterical because he is like this great adventurer, and he kind of like escaped from his college to come find these ancestral beings in
He's
the
looking
desert.
for Captain T-Wode. Yeah.
Captain Toad.
It's great. It's great.
But
Goodness
but he's like this grand adventurer. He's pretty much like Indiana Jones of Paper Mario. But anywhere that you're in the caverns in the desert, he's terrified. And he hides away. And he's just like hiding. And then
But they join you in combat, and they're not as helpful as they were in the other games where it's a true companion. But, like, for Bobby, since he's kind of like laid back, is sometimes he's like, he'll try to hit every time, but he's sleeping whenever you're not like paying attention. He's either laid back, and if his eyes are open and there's no Z's, he's gonna land his hit. If his eyes are closed and there's Z's, he's gonna trip and mess up. He's like, oh, what? And he like falls.
Yeah. Captain Toad, he'll take his little shovel and unearth coins and hit them with coins. Just consistently.
So, but that's not like, it doesn't have to be a fighting companion all the time.
No.
Like, I will hold this up every single time it's brought up, but my favorite character in pretty much any Mario RPG game is always Bowser. And from what I have seen from the beginning and what Amanda has told me from the end of the game, he's in top form in this game.
Really? Okay.
And Bowser Jr. I've heard is fantastic in this game as well. And K-Mech and all of them.
K-Mech is probably... He's
Who's
also
K-Mech?
one of the companions.
the
He's the
little
hooded guy with the broom. That is Bowser's.
Yeah.
He's one of your companions, and also Bowser is one of your companions. And Bowser is awesome, and I wish he was more in it, but that's probably just me being selfish.
Yeah, Bowser is just...
I wish Bowser was more a part of every Mario game. Like, even Odyssey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when he would show up just, like, in his full suit
man.
and just being Bowser.
Looking good.
Dude, my favorite part of... Well, that's not true. Pretty much every part of Odyssey is my favorite part. But one of them is at the very end when you throw the cap on Bowser and he gets a little mustache and you just charge.
Incredible!
through-
Spoilers!
I mean, Zack, it's a 3-year-old game. We can just...
No, I know. That's not...
You're making fun of me.
So, but just a little side note, Bowser is folded up.
Yeah,
And he is tiny. And he's like...
Just like a little wallet size.
Yeah, he's like...
He, like, inches long like this.
And he makes little comments.
Oh,
he's
he
like...
played it, yeah.
He's like, Mario, I can't.
Yeah.
And then, like, he's wonderful. But there's a really cool part at the end of you find out why a lot of people have not been able to unfold. Like, because the toads, you hit them, they unfold, they're totally happy. And when I got... Totally. But Bowser, you know, like, I see him, I get him back towards the end of the game, and I'm like, oh, sweet, I can help Bowser. Hammer hits him. He doesn't unfold, and it's like, what the heck? And there's, like, this huge thing, and you're just like, that makes so much sense. I can't believe they thought of that.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's
I don't know
awesome.
when I'll make time to play it.
We
At
can
some
do,
point
we
by
can
the
do a
end of the
Paper
year.
Mario series if we want to. I
Well,
that's a series I...
We might. I
Or
might need to
some
play it
Mario
for like end of the
RPG.
year, right?
Oh, you will have to. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that will be... Just spoiler alert, I love this game a lot. Right now, for me, it's probably... It's on my top 3 for the year, for sure.
Whoa.
So-
What you would be considering for our game of the year? Like on our list?
I don't think it'll get there,
Cool, then I don't have to play it.
but only because of what I'm expecting from other games this year. Like, as it stands now, if we were to, like, kind of start now, I would absolutely recommend it. But it really is a really special game.
Because I know, like, one of the things people think that the battle system gets boring.
Yeah, let's talk about the battle system.
So, again, it's a puzzle piece, so you have 4 rings. So you have to coordinate those puzzle pieces to either with enemies, so the enemies are on the puzzle pieces, and Mario is in the center, and you have to coordinate them, and the better you coordinate them, the more power you have. So if you get a perfect or great alignment with, and of course the equipment you have, that...
For sure you cut out for a moment.
I
What was that?
did. No, it's okay. Oh, I think I'm back. Okay.
Yeah, you're back. Now you're
No.
gone.
Do we need to start something over?
No.
Go.
Sweet. So with the rings, Mario's in the center, enemies are on the outside. With bosses, it's vice versa. So Mario's on the outside, and then the
Now,
bosses are on the
The
inside.
puzzle is one of those puzzles everybody loves. It's their favorite puzzles in video games. Circular, a circle with 4 rings in it, and you turn them to match up an image. There's no image here. You're matching up enemies to get them in a particular orientation to line up a combo
For
or
your
something.
weapon, yes. It's either a straight line or a little clump of 4 all together close to you. Just basically 2 by 2, basically.
Yeah.
Close to you.
But and those can kind of get interesting based on, so like one of my favorite examples is the booze.
Oh yeah, this is...
You got really frustrated. So when the boos appear, they miscombobulate to where you can fix them. They disappear, and you have to do it without them on the tile pieces.
Like, yeah, you don't know. You just have to remember where they were and solve the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
They'll throw little things in like that to kind of, keep them interesting as the game progresses. It's a long game, and it's this combat, the whole game.
yeah, but the bosses make it very interesting. So like the rubber band boss, he throws out rubber bands and knocks out your pieces that increase your power-ups, or lets you put on the on pieces for the magic rings.
Yeah, 'cause let's preface by saying the rings, instead of having enemies on them now, are replaced with like Mario will move this direction, or will activate this attack piece, or here's just a normal attack piece, and you have to coordinate so you land in the right spot to be able to attack them for the best damage. But this guy will snap rubber bands at those pieces and just take out like a couple randomly, and make the puzzle harder. And he's like I think the 4th boss, 3rd or 4th boss.
Yeah, and but the rubber bands will fall on those puzzle pieces in an arrow, and so If you hit the rubber band, that is the area that Mario will go.
He'll like snap down one, right?
Yes.
Or like snap up one. Or snap up or down a ring one, basically.
Right. But if you hit that rubber band again, then you lose your turn.
Because it has now balled up and you'll trip over it.
Yeah.
Right?
The fire volumental, the giant bird.
No, don't tell me yet. I haven't gotten there.
Spoilers.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
So spoilers.
This is for me only.
You have to take damage in order to do certain things. You have to outweigh the risk and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Of doing damage or not.
But a lot of these bosses are incredibly intuitive. Like
so like the
best example.
The streamers have craft-based bosses, and so there's one that's called you fight a box of colored pencils, and whenever you see him, his lid's open, and also his text is all multicolored because he's colored pencils.
Yeah, so anytime he talks, it's all like in every color. Of course. But he'll launch his colored pencils as missiles.
Yeah.
And so of course what you're generally supposed to do is get your origami hand so you can slam the lid shut. But I was like, I bet I don't have to do that because it's a little bit harder because you have to activate a button and then have the origami hand piece activate. And then you have to land on the origami hand piece. Sure. But you can also just land on the attack piece with nothing else. So I was like, let me just get behind him and hit him with my hammer. And sure enough, wham! It slams the lid shut without having to do all the complicated stuff.
And he's stuck, nice. And he misses a turn, and so you can just totally.
But not only misses a turn, he also like will shoot the missiles still inside himself and blow up. But then he'll change halfway through the battle, right?
Yes, and so each battle has phases, and so it changes, and so you have to change your battle tactics within half the time.
Yeah, like the same thing won't work again, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Seems fun. It seems very interesting. I've only listened to a couple people talk about the combat, but it is a puzzle, though.
Yeah, there's items and some
puzzle.
Yeah, even if you get a perfect lineup, some guys are too strong. You have to use your items, which break. So like my super iron boots or whatever lets me jump on enemies with spikes, because usually you can't, obviously. So if you have the iron boots item, you just use that. Well, those break after a certain number of uses, which means since you don't get anything but confetti and coins from an enemy, and if you're fighting the necessary enemies that you have to fight anyway, you're going to be pretty well stocked on coins. You'll be fine. There's not much incentive to fight battles now because you're just going to be breaking your items.
There's no XP or anything. There's no leveling. There's no... I mean, rarely do they drop items, and that's only if they're special enemies.
Yeah, there's not much incentive to fight them outside of combat. However, I'm a little over 15 hours into the game now, and not once has the combat gotten boring for me, nor have I been disappointed that I'm not fighting an enemy. Like, that I'm not getting rewarded from fighting an enemy or like going out of my way to avoid them. In fact, it gives you items to let you avoid them too. Like you don't have to. When I do fight enemies is when my confetti bag's low and I want to fill up some of the empty spaces. It's way faster to just fight an enemy than to go and hammer every single tree in the world to get the confetti. So there are moments where I'm encouraged and actively fighting the enemies in the area to get confetti, fill up my bag, and fill up the blank spaces in the world. So I will say that is my main issue with the game, just like everybody else, is that there's not much reward. Like, you don't have to have a full XP system to reward the player. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There are other ways. Either, beating a certain number of enemies in every area rewards you with a toad, or, like little things like that would encourage you to at least be actively fighting.
Or that it's fun. That's a good reason, too.
Sure. I think it's very fun.
Are you saying it's not fun?
I'm saying it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or I thought you said being fun is a good reward too. Maybe they should do that.
No. They do that, and it is fun, and that's why I fight enemies.
Yeah, okay. And I will bring that up. I know it's different for a lot of people, but while I won't go out of my way to fight enemies, just for the fun of it, when I do get into battle, or I need that confetti, I'm having a blast. It's not like a chore, Okay.
Yeah, okay. And it's so satisfactory when you get that puzzle perfect. And you can
Especially
just wipe
if it's a hard one.
Yeah.
Like, there are some that are you get 3 moves, and you can either rotate the circle or pull them out and in, right? And man, there are some, and you can pay coins to like get more time. I've spent on like one puzzle in particular. I spent so many coins, and I got it like just right at the end. I figured it out.
Now, I've heard someone say they take screenshots of some of the more difficult battles and will just like think about it throughout the day.
That's cool.
Well, what do you think about that? Do you think that would be robbing someone of the?
I don't know if they're hard enough for that. Personally, like I haven't found one that's hard enough. Like you can solve any of them in 3 minutes if you're really trying.
The only thing I could think about is, again, a little bit of a spoiler, but there's a game show that you find yourself on in this game, and there's some of those puzzles, and I was a little frustrated. I was like, oh my god, this is so hard, and it's because it's like a picture. It's the battlefield, but it's a picture, and it like scrambles it. And so I did take pictures of that, and I was like, how in the world? Like I paused the game, and I was like, no, I am going to figure this out.
Sure.
How do you do this? And so I think that was the only instance that the puzzles was like, no, I'm going to figure this out. I have spent coins on more time for like the battle puzzles, but I figured out most of them. So it wasn't too difficult, but that one was definitely a moment where I was just like, no, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, it's definitely more puzzle than it is, action combat. You still have to time stuff, like you do in every Paper Mario game. But
I think that's what keeps the player engaged.
I just like doing it, and I love it when you're in a really hard area, you just beat a hard puzzle, and I don't know if it's intentional or if they do this on purpose or it just happens. But after a really hard puzzle, I tend to have one that's like just spin the circle and line them up like really easy. And even now, in the middle of the game, it'll just give me a really easy one just to be like,
oh, that's definitely intentional.
Yeah.
There's probably something keeping track of like the number of coins you spent, or like even the number of coins the average person spends, if they're keeping track of that online, and the amount of time the person spends.
It's a relief to be like, yes, just let me stomp these stupid Koopas. Like, I need this catharsis because that puzzle sucked.
That's a good point. The further on you get in the game, if you go back to those areas, you are stronger. So it's based on because you can increase your health in the game by finding these super hearts that just increase your max health. It also increases your strength. And so if you go back...
What happens if you miss one, though, Amanda? How can you know where to go find one?
The Love Toad.
The Love Toad.
So you find him somewhere in the world. And he's like, well, I will see you in Toad Town, which is the primary area that you can go back to.
The central hub.
Yes. And he's just leaning on a pole, and he's just too cool for school. And
I'm the Love Toad.
He will tell you where those heart.
Hey man, you lose some heart on your way around here. Let me help you out. I can find that heart for you. Just the smoothest.
But he doesn't tell you exactly where it is. He tells you a riddle.
Yeah, he gives you a little riddle. It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's another reward for finding toads. It's just, hey, this guy will fill this shop, or this guy will now fulfill this purpose for you.
They have a purpose.
A lot of them do. I say a lot of them. The majority are just find them, they'll join your battle. But finding toads is encouraged because they will, hey, I now open this shop, or hey, now I fulfill this function in the world for you.
Because I know there was a Goomba that was up on the top of a building that was just totally frustrating me. And I was like, how do I get to this dang Goomba? It's a paper mache Goomba that's on top of a building. And it's not until I found a couple toads, and I was talking to one of the toads, and he was under an umbrella that was closed. And he was like, God, it's so sunny. I wish this umbrella would pop open. And I'm like, okay, I'll hit it with my hammer, because that is what Paper Mario tells me to do, is hit everything. And it pops open, and a little magic circle, which allows the origami hands, pops out. And I'm like, oh my God, I could have figured that out a long time ago, but the game was like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Well, I'll give you this one toad to give you a hint right there, so you can get to that dang Goomba that's been bothering you for 15 hours now.
Yeah, just little things like that, really well designed. And then, of course, there's one more form of combat, and it's just in the overworld, and you just, typical action platformer kind of stuff. You dodge the enemy, hit them with the hammer. There are some bosses that way that are really tough sometimes. I just fought one in the desert that was way too difficult for what it was.
It was not.
I mean, I didn't die, but it was very surprising.
Video games.
Well, yes, correct. That is super accurate because he does so much damage. But you get to find a blooper.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen a blooper.
Yeah, that's super fun. Very like dodge, jump, like do your.
One of my favorite things, at least watching you play, was it's in the first world, the first streamer. And there's these paper mache Shy Guys, and they're playing soccer with an orb that you need for a temple to get to the volumental, which you need for other puzzles. And they're kicking it around like a soccer ball. And I mean, this took me 15 minutes to figure out. And so I see Zack coming up to it, and he's like, "Oh, that's the thing I need." But they kick it in a triangle away from Mario constantly. So you're just like running around in this little circle trying to get this ball from them. And Zack was just like, how do I do this? Why are they not giving it to me? And the simplicity of it is you just have to knock one of them down.
Yeah.
But
you just want to catch it, like trick them and go, "Ha! I got you! I hammered it before you could get there." No, I could not. I chased a little grasshopper, folded up toad for probably 10 minutes of my life. Like, just what you get my hammer. It's brutal.
Yeah, the creativity in that game. And I mean, one of my favorite bosses, at least with the streamers, is the hole puncher.
Oh yeah, I haven't got to fight him yet.
He's hysterical and funny. He's a groovy hole puncher.
Ooh.
He's very groovy. So I'm not ruining everything for you.
Oh,
I promise.
thank you. I'm glad that I get to
Anticipate
the groove.
But there's a certain thing wrong with the toads as you're going into this temple. And you're just like, "Oh my god, that's going to happen to me." And it does. It does happen to you during battle. And it takes down your max health permanently. That this hole puncher does to you. But then, like, throughout the combat, you see that those pieces get, like, scattered out everywhere. And so you have to go collect them.
That's amazing.
It's just and again, I won't tell you because I want you to see, because like at the end of the game they give you a bunch of pictures of the storyline and stuff, and then there's certain parts you're just like, "Oh my god, that makes so much more sense now." So
how cool. Well, yeah, does anybody have any final thoughts on this game?
I do not.
Yeah, you should have some more. You should play some more, man. It's really good.
Eventually got some games on the docket that
docket.
Yeah, Zack, you're finishing it.
Priority.
Oh, I know. It's
yeah. So Zack, you're finishing it.
Yeah, I just have walking sims to get through on the next 2 weeks. I'm sure I'll finish them with plenty of time. I will.
Which is the previous episode.
Yes, which will be the previous episode. But we'll get to it. Nick, any final thoughts?
No, man. We covered all the delightful moments that I've been able to experience so far. I've just been so
busy,
invested in those toads.
Yeah, man.
The toads.
They are.
Must have toads.
It's so good. But yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about the next game on our list.
I think it might be a good time for a break, as we are just at an hour now.
How far in are we?
An hour.
An hour. Awesome. Hey guys, we're gonna take a quick break. We will see you soon, but just wanted to make sure that we shout it out. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram. It tends to be our most social media outlet stuff at Unpatched Gaming. But also, make sure to support us on Patreon if you can, guys. Just $2 tier.
That Discord.
Yes,
$2.
$2 a month. You get to join our Discord. We got lots of fun stuff going on there. We want to build that community where we can just share games a little bit more intimately with you guys.
And that's the point here. We want to share games. We're talking about some new games right now, but as you may have seen in our previous episodes, we want to share games with each other. We want to share games with you, and we want you to share games with us.
Yeah, we want to grow.
So join us
as people, evolve our tastes, all that good stuff. So,
and I won't be here quite as often as I'd like, but I'll be on that Discord quite a lot.
Yes, he will. He's probably gonna be in charge of running a couple of those playthroughs and photo modes and stuff. So it's gonna be good stuff. We will be right back.
We will be right back.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Unpatched Gaming Podcast.
Good evening. We got coffee now at 9 o'clock. What the heck are we doing here?
We are living the dream because we're about to talk about someone who's not human, who can go without coffee, without sleep, without food or water. He's a ghost.
Or defecation.
Yeah.
He's a ghost, or
where is he of?
Me at work?
Oh.
He's a ghost.
Yeah, it's you at work.
It's me at work. Where is he of, Nick? You might ask.
I did.
Tsushima.
No, it is Tsushima. The Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh my.
Sony's last game for the last big hoorah on the PS4.
The last exclusive, I believe. Yes, I did see that someone had compiled a list of all of the PS4 exclusives together. It was really cool. And I believe, this is the last one.
What a year for the PS4.
Yeah, they
That's good
are
stuff, man.
killing it.
You got Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2. What else we got?
I think it's it, right? Isn't that all the exclusives? At least the big exclusives this year.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
think so.
enough.
It's good. It's a good year.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, that's just really strong for them. But anyway, let's talk about it. I know that Nick and Amanda did not play it.
Though I did watch Donkey's video on it.
Which
That's the only one you watched?
I pretty much know everything about
He doesn't
it.
need to watch anymore.
I watched a lot of videos about arrows in that game.
Yes, because arrows are straight up the win button in that game.
I never used my bow a single time.
I got the archer uniform, from the Legend of the Archer dude. Straight up,
I used it all the time.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, I did get that one, and straight up, just really powerful enemy. It's gonna take me a long time to fight with my sword. Slow down time, headshot.
Yeah,
headshot.
that armor is nice.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Beautiful, but not quite my favorite.
Yes, my favorite is Gosaku's armor.
I didn't get that.
It's big boy.
Oh yeah,
big boy.
No, I like the Ronin, which is basically just cloth.
Sure, yeah, it looks really nice, but I like the big boy, old school samurai, the plate stuff.
Yeah.
Just he's beefy. But Amanda did watch me play it.
Yes,
Cool.
I did.
Cool. You watched all the
Pretty
fox
much.
petting?
Oh yeah, so much.
Yeah.
That's when Amanda's like, "This is my favorite game of the year."
That is not true. It was more of me tapping your shoulder, be like, "You better follow that damn fox."
You better pet it. You better pet it.
It cries a little bit.
Ghost of Tsushima is it's a big open world game.
Yep. From Sucker
set
Punch.
in feudal Japan. The Mongolian Empire is invading Japan.
Real event that happened in history.
And the samurai are, at least the samurai of Tsushima, are
Small island.
all but small for a real world island, but it's pretty good size world in game.
Yeah, I guess small island in the fact that it's not Japan.
Sure.
You know?
And yeah, all of the samurai are pretty much wiped out, with very few exceptions. The main character Jin being one of them. And in the very beginning of the game, you are you wash ashore or something, and a very skillful thief finds you and nurses you back to health, and you're really conflicted because you've been saved by this person who has a lifestyle and just this belief system that it goes against everything that you know.
Yeah, all the samurai code.
Yeah, everything you hold dear, and it's one of my favorite aspects of the game. Is
the central
the
tension
struggle.
is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
really,
between
really
the honor of his family and his samurai.
Yeah,
and you get the conflict with him having, in his mind, having to become this duplicitous, backstabbing, ghost, a monster, and it's
and he reminds so. At first, you can pretty much only do... You can't even do a stealth kill. You're not allowed to do stealth kills for a little while.
Because he does not.
In fact, the character doesn't do it.
When he goes up, the first thing he does is ride straight to the Citadel to fight the Mongol chieftain, and he just goes, "Hey!" and calls out and makes everybody run down to him so he can just cut them down. That's the way he does things.
So how do we want to structure our approach to this big boy game?
Well, it's a big boy game, but actually I didn't find that there was too much content going on in it for it being an open world game.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty focused, I would say. I wouldn't say that it's sparse.
No, it's not sparse.
There's plenty to do there, but there's not too much to do. And I think it really shows a lot of restraint. Now, it doesn't stray too far from the things you are doing there. Do not stray too far from the formula.
Yeah, it's gonna hit the check boxes of an open world. You have side content. You have regions unlocked one at a time where you can go. There's no towers, thankfully. It's just you have to explore yourself, which I like. But let's just talk about the first thing right out the gate, which I believe is their strongest, and it's just the world design. The art design of the world, the your place in it, the function it serves, like all that stuff, just it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about this, and the photo mode I know you spent.
I spent so much time on the photo mode. You can check out our Instagram. I might have, what is that, like 40 or so, maybe slightly less than that, images on there. I spent a ton of time. I was maybe close to 10 hours in, and like 5 or 6
Hadn't even
missions
gotten the bow
in.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a few missions in. I don't think I did have the bow because I was just using photo mode. I was exploring that first island.
But,
And-
you know, you mentioned this to me. The moment after you go and, you know, you fail fighting the Mongol again, and you have to realize that you have to, you know, gather strength and that kind of stuff, you are galloping on your horse over this you know, the field of flowers, and the Ghost of Tsushima title comes up, and right across you have this beautiful little stream or some sort of water fixture, and then this just yellow-leaved forest.
Yeah, the golden forest right in front of you.
Right.
But it does this so well, contrasts the colors. You know, so there's really bright green and the green grass, and the blue water, a large tree growing right out of this small river or creek, whatever you might be running across on your horse. But you just come out of the, what is it called, pampas grass? The white fluffy grass. I think it's pampas grass, something like that. So you rush out of this dark forest, and there's really bright pampas grass, and you're running across the blue and the green into the gold. And
it's gorgeous.
They do that over and over. And when you're riding your horse through the pampas grass and you turn, he'll kneel down and just like drag his hand.
Yeah, he'll just drag his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
So on the world, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm the one who spent all the time in the photo mode there. What they do in this game is really capture the reverence for nature that I think is a huge part of the Japanese culture. And
especially then, yeah,
especially then, for sure. Maybe not so much today, I don't know, but it was there at least, and to the point where you can just walk up to a beautiful part of nature, and you think as a gamer, oh wow, look at this place I discovered, I'm gonna get something for this, and you do. What you get is that vista. You get the experience of being in that place. And there's a dedicated bowing button, and so you just bow in this sort of sacred place, and you're just rewarded with like this little flourish. You know, like leaves and things will float around you, but it's just telling you you're not getting something for it. You're giving thanks for it being there. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And you can do that in several places.
Absolutely. And there's this, you know, the world is gorgeous. There's so much variety to the landscapes and structures. It all looks really good, but, you know, in any other open world game, it's like, well, okay, let me open my map marker and follow my arrow now.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this is an innovation that all open world games can really take from, is that for Tsushima, when you set your map marker, the wind will blow in that direction.
It's incredible.
And
wow.
And you can swipe up on the touchpad on the controller, and the wind will start blowing again, so it's more clear. But even then, you can just look at the grass and see it blowing.
If you see grass slightly leaning in a direction, or from that pampas grass, the pollen will float up.
Yeah, and the particle effects.
Yeah.
Particle effects.
Just the grass in general, the foliage, I don't think has ever been better in a video game.
Yeah.
And I think
maybe Red Dead, which I've not played. But certainly of anything that I have played, I don't think there's been better grass.
I mean, I think definitely, but it's not, I don't know, because like my impression is it's not trying to be over realistic either. It's very artistic, you know. It's not trying to be hyper realistic as like what you would see in Red Dead, like you were saying. But
like it's realistic, but you're right. It's not trying to, you know, go for the pure realism. Like it is just colorful and beautiful, and
there's all of those things exist in Japan, but it's enough liberties are taken to really
to show the palette.
And when we're experiencing, when you go to a forest of cherry blossoms for the first time,
Sure.
that's incredible because you don't get those things in Texas. You get cacti, and so it's this absolutely gorgeous thing. But so to continually give you that feeling in the game, some liberties have to be taken, but it is still very grounded. I don't think it moves too much into fantasy.
No,
it's still a very grounded world.
I think because Fallout 76 trying to be super, super realistic, so you have shadows everywhere. It's very dimmed out because a realistic world isn't as bright and colorful as Ghost of Tsushima, but Ghost of Tsushima it's almost like a hyper realistic, the contrast, and I appreciate that it's more art driven focus, at least in the nature part, than being super realistic. I think that's what more I'm saying. Not that it doesn't exist in the world, but I think it was like, ooh, we can make it look like real life, but Ghost of Tsushima is like, no, we want to make sure you see the vibrant colors in the Golden Forest. We want you to be mystified by these things, and so
and the
that's
sun,
what I appreciate.
the way the sun reacts to the clouds and the water. One of my favorite. It's actually the first image I took. I was like, oh, that's pretty. I'm gonna turn on photo mode. I never used photo mode before. This is actually one of the very few PS4 games that I have played. I've only recently really started jumping into games again, and so this is my first time jumping into a photo mode. Turns out it's one of the best photo modes, but being able to frame that and turn the sun just right and watch the clouds turn pink, and there's I'm coming out of a green forest into the pampas. You've got the blue sky, but I can position the sun just right to make these streaking clouds pink. And it's just so pretty.
Yeah, but again, going back to the wind mechanic.
We got it.
Yeah, because what this does is it keeps your eyes on that world. You're not looking at a map marker. You're not looking at something, your little mini map in the corner. The UI fades out pretty quick.
Yeah, and there's not. It's such a show of confidence. There's not a mini map. There's not even an option to have one. You have to manually go into a large map if you want to see it, but you shouldn't have to. Once you set a destination, you can do anything. You can't you even save the game, turn it off, and the marker will, your previous marker will still be saved?
I don't know. I put it in rest mode the whole time.
Yeah. So that might not be the case, but you can do anything. You can be on one side of the map and set your marker for the other side of the map and do every single activity you find on the way there, and you'll still have the wind slightly nudging in that direction. So why open the map?
Yeah, it's really great. Fantastic. I'm a huge. That's my favorite part of the whole game.
Honestly. Yeah, it's really a step forward. It's something
that why has nobody thought of this yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, and it does show the confidence that they have in the world that they built. So
now I think they take it a step too far with those birds.
Let's talk about that. So there are moments in the game where you follow animals and they lead you to some sort of upgrade or interesting location or something like that. And the first couple times it happens, you feel really smart. You're like, oh, I bet this animal. It's a Breath of the Wild kind of thing, where it's like, that looks interesting, and therefore I will go there. You know what I mean? Oh, this fox is going somewhere, I will now follow it. Breath of the Wild did that once or twice. You know what I mean? Tsushima, unfortunately, makes it a repetitive thing. Yellowbird, take it somewhere interesting. Fox, take you to this upgrade thing. And it just becomes rote after a while.
It becomes rote, but also, the things you find with the Yellowbird are not always a big deal. It might be a collectible or something, but occasionally it's robbing you of that discovery. And for a game so focused on its world and providing that for the player, I think the birds were actually a bad choice. I followed 2 or 3, and one of the times that I followed them, it was to one of those places where, and I don't know why this was the case. Maybe there was something else nearby that triggered it, but it was one of those secret places you can find that you just bow to and you experience the nature. It led me there, and I was like, why would you do that to me? You completely robbed me of that discovery.
Yeah, it's definitely not my favorite part. I'll agree with that. Honestly, there was not much exploring done as I went further and further into the game. Like, as I went further in the game, I kind of just started, okay, let's find the upgrades, let's find this, let's find that, and let's, keep progressing through the game. And I don't know if that's just me as a player or if it's a design thing.
No, I don't think it's just you. I think it's just me, or whoever else is was so invested in the photo mode. That's what my exploration was for, because you're not going to the top of this mountain, finding a cave, and finding this incredible piece of armor. You might do that through a set of a set of missions, but there's not that kind of discovery in there. It is for the sake of the world.
Yeah.
So exploration as a gamer, no, it's not going to do much for you. But just to be in that world, I think it's really something.
It's really cool. But I do think that the length of the game and as you progress through it, your desire to keep exploring kind of starts to wane. At least, I don't know, that was for me at least.
It did for me for a particular reason. I was sort of on a deadline, and I put way too much time. I really front-loaded my time with the photo mode.
But do you think you would have finished the game at all without that deadline? Would you just have spent the time in photo mode, probably?
Yes.
Yeah, see, so that's
well,
interesting.
I don't know, because I did get to a point. I don't know when you want to jump on the narrative.
That's fine, we can talk about it now.
Okay. So the narrative I thought was pretty weak in the beginning. The idea of the story held my attention all the way through. I thought it was so engaging, and
it's a good central conflict.
Yeah, it's really, really solid. But you're introducing new characters, sort of setting up the conflict there, the broader conflict, not just the conflict inside of Jin. And I wasn't particularly interested. Some of the characters are fine, whatever. But once all of that is set up in Act 2, and things really, I think things really start to pick up. And, I would have gotten to that point at the very least. And so that would have picked me up to finish.
Sure, because I do think the narrative is very strong, especially for, an open world game. The side narratives are fun and engaging. I liked the side characters for the most part. I wanted to know more about them, finish their stories. But, the main thing is the climax of the story. And, having Jin face that part of himself. I'm now no longer a samurai. I'm something else. And having to face that part of himself and make, a decision about it.
Mm-hmm. And those, the new mechanics you unlock as you become, approaching sort of a ninja, the mechanics you unlock sort of trigger this conflict inside of Jin. So,
and he'll note it after you've done a couple assassinations or a couple smoke bombs or something. He'll say, "Sorry, uncle."
Yeah, and he's got to remind himself, this has to be done. I raided a village or an encampment, and this is the first time I raided an entire place with stealth, and a couple guys in, he started telling himself, it has to be this way. I have to do it like this.
Yeah.
And he had to really steel himself, because he doesn't want to do it. It's really good. And the first time, so there's two major stealth upgrades. First, just the general stealth kill, and what's the second big stealth upgrade? Maybe. It's the poison.
Yes.
It's the poison. So on both occasions. The first time you do it outside of the scripted moment, if you're just out in the wild, the first time you decide to do a stealth kill, it immediately cuts away. You don't even get to finish the kill. It's pretty jarring, actually. It takes you to a flashback where the values that you are throwing away in this moment are instilled in Jin. So
as a young
boy. It's so good,
man.
Yeah,
it's good storytelling. I was engaged the whole time, and the ending got me. It really did.
Absolutely, and we chose different paths.
Yeah, we both chose different paths, and I wanted to choose the one you did. I was just too weak. I couldn't do it, man.
So how into the end do we want to get here?
No, let's leave it alone. This is going to be, people are going to be playing this for the game of the year at the end of the year and stuff. So let's leave it alone. Let's let them experience it. But just suffice to say, it sums up the themes of the game perfectly.
Yes, yeah, it's really special.
And it's really good. But
I think one of the his friend, the Straw Hat guy. Sorry, I know.
Oh,
I forget.
Yeah, he's the Straw Hat guy leader.
Yes. So I think that's one of the really cool outer conflicts that Jin is having inside as well.
Yeah.
Is that he sees his friend, he battles with his friend, but the Straw Hat guy has to feed his people, and so he goes to the dark side.
When he
not the dark side.
Yeah,
sorry,
very
but the
reluctantly.
Mongols.
The Mongols.
He joins the Mongols very
Darth
reluctantly.
Genghis.
And the first time you see him standing with what's the Khan's name?
It's I don't know.
Big bad.
Yeah, the son of Kublai.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
First time you see him standing with the Khan, the Khan has captured several
Is he Kotal?
people. That sounds right.
He might be Kotal Khan, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. I'm just gonna call him the Khan.
Cool. Sounds good.
So he's trying to get through the walls of this city, and he captures some of the citizens and puts them on stakes out, in front of the gates. And he says, just open the gates, and your family can join you, and no one will do it. And so he tells your friend, who you've built up a pretty decent relationship. I think they do a pretty good job of setting that relationship up, from the past. He's an old friend of yours, and
yeah, for sure.
He's made to set one of those stakes on fire, and he's not a bad guy. He's so desperate. His clan is homeless and hungry.
Very hungry.
Yeah. So the first time you see him do that and have to turn, well, he doesn't have to, but he does make the choice to turn. Is a really
it
good
hurts.
moment.
It's a well told story, and the sides content and little side legends, you can go on these little stories of these great heroes as you try to find their weapon or their armor set. And they're fun stories. They're very fantastical, and the settings that you end up in are really cool. Those are some of the best parts of the game.
I only did 2 of those. I got the lightning move, the Heaven Strike.
I love that arena man with all the swords everywhere, and I got the ultimate move where you just 3 goes through block slashes.
Oh yeah.
Decimates bosses. Just stupid, awesome. It's so cool. I love it. But yeah, there's it's a lot of fun to do that stuff. Although I personally, for me, the combat really lost its luster as I progressed through the game, and I haven't seen many people talk about this, so it could just be me. So take this with a grain of salt. But I found it pretty simplistic. You have a couple stances. You have some some ninja tools, for lack of a better term, your stealth kills, and then you just you focus on there's a bunch of enemies around you. You switch to the stance that's effective against them, fight them, and just be aware of the other enemies. You can dodge, you can block, and if you time it right, you can parry. I found myself just learning the parry timings, parrying, and taking them out.
I won't disagree.
Or just whipping the bow out and headshotting everybody.
Sure.
Straight up at close range, just freeze time. Best enemy over there.
I didn't get that till
Headshot.
in the 3rd act. I didn't upgrade that part of the bow.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That was once I realized how good it was.
Because I didn't do. I avoided a lot of the combat.
Did you get the longbow?
No.
So the longbow is even better because it goes through armor.
Really?
So any big dude wearing a helmet, you just switch to your longbow.
I thought about it. It was in the 3rd act when I really started using the bow more, and I thought about it, but I couldn't go. No, it was towards the end of the 2nd act, so I wasn't banished yet.
Okay.
But I refused to fast travel, and I was on the deadline, so I was like, I'm not going to ride back there to go get it.
Yeah, for sure. I understand.
And I didn't. Even at the end of the game where you ride from one end of the map to the other to get to that final encounter, just taking the vista every time.
Yeah, and that's
except for the 3rd act, man. Maybe it's intentional.
It is, I think. It does.
It's a tundra.
Yeah.
So it's not going to
frozen lakes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not going to provide much beauty. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. At the end of the game, does it start to melt?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No clue. I was on a deadline, had some other stuff I needed to play, so I just wrapped it up. But that'd be cool to look into.
I haven't actually stopped thinking about it though, which is not normal for me. Once I put a game,
interesting,
unless it's something that I absolutely love. Once I put a game down, I'm not going to pick it up too much. But I want to go visit those characters, and I want to see a little more of the world because there's still like, a third of the first and second part of the island that I haven't explored.
Yeah.
I don't think I will because we've got a pretty busy schedule.
Yes.
But it held my attention. I don't play open world games very much. I stopped playing open world games around Assassin's Creed 3, and there are a few exceptions.
Which is what, like 2012?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
It's been a while since I've
kept
really
up with them pretty well. I played
game.
Mad Max. I played Horizon Zero Dawn. I think I've kept up pretty well.
There's some that I'm interested in, but just generally the Ubisoft structure I'm not very interested in. If it's doing something other than that, I'm at least interested in it. But then you've got the time sink.
Sure.
Like that's something I also find hard to really jump into. But I really want to jump back in there.
So yeah, for me, just in summary on this, if you really like the world part of open world games, definitely pick this one up. I'd say this is up your alley probably. If you, it's not a game that if you don't own a PS4 already that you should buy a PS4 for. I would say, yeah, I don't think it's that big of a draw. Like I think there are other PS4 games that would scratch that itch.
Tetris Effect.
Yes, Tetris Effect. I was thinking more like God of War. Bloodborne.
I know. I'm just kidding because that's literally the reason I bought a PS4. Not for God of War or Bloodborne or Uncharted. I picked up a PS4 when Tetris Effect came out.
That's incredible.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I
picked up all those games afterward, but that's what really pushed it over the edge.
I would say though, for anyone who has a PS4, definitely maybe if it goes on sale a little bit later, just pick it up. It's a fun game. It's worth playing.
Or now, pick it up now. It's not on sale. I think it's worth the $60.
Well, sure. I'm just saying, like, if you're on the fence about it, just wait. And pick it up and. But yeah, if you're into open worlds for the world, this game hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I want to take a moment. I didn't say much on combat.
Okay, yeah, talk about it.
Because I don't think you and I agree very much there. I'll agree that it isn't super complex. I don't think it is boring. I know you didn't say boring. But no, I don't think it is.
It got old for me after a while. I wouldn't call it boring. I think that's a step too far, but it did get old for me.
Okay. I really found the stances to be engaging. And maybe that's just because I don't play much of these. I haven't played Assassin's Creed in 8 years, so I don't play that. I don't use that combat 2 or 3 times a year, or Batman. I think there's a little bit of that in there. It's definitely more classic Assassin's Creed, but it felt I wouldn't say fresh, but it was an evolution of that classic Assassin's Creed combat, which I did love. I was a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. And I think the stances really shook that up. And once you incorporate the ghost items, you can start throwing sticky bombs or
as Donkey calls them, Halo plasma grenades.
Yeah. So you've got kunai, sticky bombs, smoke bombs.
The break the game kit, and very intentionally for us from a narrative standpoint, like they break a lot of the combat. It's fun. Like your kunai just straight up break blocks immediately.
Yeah, it's really cool. Which we didn't actually talk about the progression either. I think this really ties into the narrative. I really enjoy the progression here. Firstly, the way the leveling system is presented. So you don't strictly have levels. You do get experience after pretty much everything you do, and you'll occasionally get a skill point, so you can unlock things that cost either 1 or 2 skill points. And as you get, what is it, like, I think it's different for each tier, 4 or 6 skill points, your legend increases, because everything you're doing is for the betterment of your people.
You're the ghost.
Your land is being slaughtered. Your people are being slaughtered by these Mongols. So, and everyone already knows you. So that's another thing here. You're not some nameless hero. Everyone knows you as Lord Sakai, Jin Sakai. So you're already like a very esteemed figure, as most of the samurai clans are, and so everyone knows you, and your legend increases, and the way people react to you increases with that as well. I thought that was a nice way to present it.
But it's a lot of different skill trees, and certain things are unlocked after, beating this many Mongol leaders. Some things are unlocked just as you progress through the game. Some things are unlocked just as your legend increases.
You think it's too much to manage?
No, I mean, it's not complicated.
No, I don't mean complicated.
It's like...
It does not add much.
There's no, well, what should I invest in first? And, what's important to have just as a base good, line of thing. Is this kind of a diversity thing? How many points will I have by the end of the game? What can I invest in? That kind of stuff. It wasn't very clear. And there's just a lot. There's 4 different areas, and each has a couple skill trees on it. So, me, I just go, well, let me just, I straight up invested everything into parry, and then just started winning combat all the time because I had one skill tree all the way up already. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And
you didn't increase stealth very much, right?
Not until the end of the game when I had just free points to spend.
Yeah, I didn't have free points because I did very little
all I did was parry all the way up.
Yep.
And then every stance all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started just dumping it into exploration stuff and
I think I
stealth
did
stuff.
Either down to
arrow. I got arrows really the arrow stuff really early too.
I increased the stances almost all the way, either the second to last or third to last. So I didn't have the full trees there. I did all but the last parry, and it wasn't until the end of the game where I decided to really dive into being a ghost.
Yeah.
And this is for more of my role playing.
Sure.
What is it called? Dishonored, as an example. The first time I played Dishonored, I was going to do a no-kill run, but it made sense for the character towards the end of that game when you're confronted with these new kinds of enemies that are very similar to you, and they're vicious and terrible people. They're not just the guards that are doing their job like everybody else. They're not just the people you used to work with. These are the actual enemy. So I started killing them. It made sense to get rid of them. So when it makes sense to divert from my playstyle for the sake of the character, I tend to do that, and he was the ghost now. So I started going into there, and there's some really, really fun stuff.
Maybe that's the purpose behind it. That very well be the case. I would have just liked to see a little bit more direction. I definitely not upgrade this first, then do this. Just a little bit more kind of guidance, maybe reorganizing the way that those trees are presented to the player.
Maybe there is a lot of
just kind of scattered in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's pretty, but the functionality of the UI is fine. It leaves a little to be desired.
Again, they want your eyes on that world, man. They're just close that menu.
In the menus, that is.
Yeah, they're close that menu, put your eyes back on the world.
Yeah. The UI, the overlay, first is dynamic, so that's nice. It's pretty small, and it's contextual, so it's not there very often. But when you go into the menu to start doing upgrades, equipping items and stuff, it is really flashy.
It's good stuff. So let's.
What is that? Form over function.
Yes, form over function.
Yeah, that's definitely what the menu is.
Well, man, we've talked a lot about this really pretty open world. We liked being there. It was good stuff. I want to hear from everybody else at the table too. What are some of our favorite open worlds? Not the games, the worlds themselves. Whether you're favorite to explore, favorite for what it does for the game, that kind of stuff. Amanda, what is one of your favorite open worlds?
Or are we starting with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the guest, the guestiest.
I'm the guest.
I'm gonna
the guestiest of all guests.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because you do not know me very well.
I don't. Who are you? You want to go out sometime?
Sure.
Go.
Maybe.
What are you good?
Maybe.
Wow.
We'll see.
You're super nerdy. I mean.
Again, it's no surprise to all the people at the table, but I would definitely pick the Commonwealth, which is from Fallout 4.
Yeah.
What?
I'm a huge Fallout nut. I have played all of them, but the Commonwealth...
You played Fallout 1? I thought you played all but Fallout 1.
Fallout 1's almost impossible to play. But yeah.
Also, have you played Fallout Tactics?
No, that's not a Fallout game.
Yeah. Ooh, she has an opinion.
Nope, that is not. chronological to these stories. So, anyways,
yeah. Sure. But no, tell me why the Commonwealth specifically. I just want to know specifically why the Commonwealth over something like the Capital Wasteland or the new 76, whatever they call that one.
Yeah, 76. You're right. So I think the Commonwealth is very diverse in just the environmental storytelling it does. You're not even, putting the characters in there at all. It's just the environment itself. 2 examples I can think of how this game rewards you or disciplines you. For exploring, which sounds kind of bad, but it's kind of a fun way to think about it. So whenever you're going into Commonwealth, you come up to Boston, which is the primary city in Fallout that has been nuked.
Yeah.
You have this giant park in the middle of Boston, and they have this beautiful little Swan Lake in the middle of Boston. And
it's a real place, right? Is Swan Lake a real place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's really famous for being able to go out on the swan boats and paddle around. So, of course, being your character, you're like, oh, that's cool. And you see some of these broken swan boats in this pond. So you're looking around, trying to scavenge, trying to find things. And so you come up to the edge of the pond and you see this beautiful little swan boat which is kind of intact, which is kind of weird for Fallout.
Not
everything is
totally
in shambles.
Obliterated.
You get a tad too close and a super mutant behemoth decides to pop out of said pond. His name is Swan, so his little health bar comes up at the top of the screen, and his name is Swan. If you run into Swan, you're usually at the beginning of the game, and you're not able to handle Swan, which I have found out multiple times now through my playthroughs. But yeah, so it's a fun little thing that pops up, and you're like, oh, shiznit, I probably should get out of here.
Shiznit, she said.
There are other words I could use, but
there are other words you could use.
The second thing that I really enjoy about this world is, again, just the storytelling through the environment. So there's the Witches Museum that you can find in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
There's no characters there. There's only tape recorders that you have to dig out from the environment. And it's just this patrol who come up onto it and they're like, oh, I think we can loot this place. And so you follow these little recordings and it takes you to the back the doors that open up into the basement.
Yeah.
And so, but one of the last recordings you get is them screaming and obviously dying noises. So you investigate because obviously there has to be something in here. And Fallout,
it's got to be some goodies.
Always rewards you for exploring.
Yeah.
So you go in and it's pretty much like a haunted house. So you're going through, you hear stomping from above, you see bodies being pulled back by some unknown creature you can't see. They have mannequins scattered around to kind of make it super spooky.
Gotta have the mannequins.
Exactly. But you're going up and you kind of round a corner and you're like, okay, there's nothing in here. But then you hear a giant roar and you have a Deathclaw, which is one of the strongest monsters in the game, confined in this little museum.
Because usually they're like out in the open and you fight them, like, with a bunch of like room to just book it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No, not this time, ladies and germs.
And so you're stuck because those doors are locked and the only way to get out is to go back through the little hole that you find. But it's just those little things. I mean, everywhere in the Commonwealth that you can just find these stories of people. I mean, you can find a story of a serial killer who doesn't even exist in the game, but what he did before the bombs dropped can be found in notes and paintings in this one building, and you just find it randomly in the Boston area.
Sure. So why'd you pick Commonwealth over something else, like in Fallout 3's world or New Vegas's world? Like, what is it about 4 that really does it?
I think it's the prettiest.
Okay, sure. It's the newest of all of them, too.
Not necessarily. We're still considering Fallout 76.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I think it's the most...
Fallout 76 is built to be a multiplayer game, and building a world for that purpose requires.
But I could see why people would still think that it's more beautiful because it's more colorful.
Right.
Right. It's not as what's the, I always forget there's a term for it, but just kind of grayed
Drab?
out. No, it's like kind of a grayed out kind of look to the game. But yeah, I can understand why you think it looks the best. That's Fallout 4 is actually the only one I've played to completion. That's the one that I found the most engaging. I've started pretty much all of them except 1 and 2. But 4 is the one that held my attention the longest.
Yeah, I mean, I think 76 had to let go of a lot of those little tidbits in the world that you can find to make space for a multiplayer world.
They're still there, but
they're still
not a
there,
lot.
but not as much as in the Commonwealth. I mean, you can go out into pretty much a desert that is just the Fallout 2 version of the glow, and it's just irradiated, but you can find these little buildings and stuff, and you find a cult out there, and it's just like little things like that you like pick a destination, you can go towards that destination and see what's going to happen with that.
There's a story there, yeah.
Yeah, there's a story there. You'll find a side quest, or you'll run into the main story again. Like, I mean, there's been times, like, I can think of with the railroad in that game. I saw the lanterns and got curious. I did not find anything else in the world to indicate, hey, follow the lanterns for the railroad. So that was a really cool experience for me as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's...
that's a fantastic answer. I know you're a big Fallout fan, and you get a lot out of those games. It's good stuff. Nick, talk to me. What do you got?
I mean, as far as worlds go, and even though it is probably my favorite game of all time, I have to say Hollow Nest. The place,
Absolutely.
just
Yeah,
Hollow
I
Knight's
think
Yes.
we all agree
world
with that one.
in general is beautiful. There's stuff in every single
Sound
corner
design.
and crevasse. It is just a beautiful place to be. Like, I have found myself, I'm doing my second playthrough. I've seen everything in the game. I think I was at 98% by the time I had to like go on a trip or something, and I couldn't finish
Yeah.
the 100%. I still need to do that, but
I'm excited for you to go through the Pantheon this time around, too.
very excited for that.
Dude, it has my favorite boss in the whole game.
But this second time through, I'm discovering everything again. I'm doing everything again, and like I go into this place, I'm like, oh, I remember this place, and then I'll go, and there's like something in the background that I miss.
I think that's it. Oh, I remember this place. That's the mark of a really good Metroidvania, right? Is,
Oh, man.
I remember this. And it's... And you remember, like, every room, every place you've been, it stands out.
Definitely.
And you could, like, even now, if you told me, hey, where's this room? I bet you I could generally tell you how I could get there.
Yeah.
Like, from any place, because they're all connected. You can fast travel, but you can get anywhere from anywhere.
Yeah.
I
Even
remember
the fast travel,
It really
it
just...
reinforces the world.
Yeah.
I think I really enjoy it. I rarely fast travel, but when it becomes a part of the world, like with the last stag,
beetle. Yeah.
it's. I mean, I'll use it, but that particular thing, because he's a character also.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love him. I love the last
it's really
step.
great.
But also, it's not like a fast travel, like, okay, now let's just, quick fast travel somewhere. It's, okay, now go to the station, go to the place that you've already explored super thoroughly to be able to find the stag station and keep going.
Yeah,
you know?
there are
Yeah.
particular spots.
Dude, the sound design.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's just a joy to explore, and the way that they handle the map, and there's actually a map in your hands.
Yeah, and you have to hold the button to open it, and you still walk around.
It provides
slowly.
a greater sense of place than almost any video game I've ever played.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
and that sense really takes on a new form. We mentioned it. What was it in the first cast about our favorite moments in video games? This is before you get to the what is it? Raining City.
City of Tears?
City of Tears. Thank you so much. See, this is how much I love the world. Before you get there, this is obviously a really dangerous place. There's something dark going on here. But once you get there and you sit down on that bench for the first time, the world takes on a new meaning.
Yeah,
And
it's somewhere you
the
want to
tone
be.
so drastically shifts.
I mean, that was Green Path for me. Like,
Oh,
just so
I
like...
love Green
What a
Path.
delightful
that's
little
the
place.
second place, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
It's talking about placement. It's a great place to put it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it does show you what the world can offer. It's not just all going to be these dark caves. And I think if they put the jellyfish place next, I don't think. I mean, it would have held my interest. I'm not saying I wouldn't have played the game, but you wouldn't have known what's in store for you, as well as putting Green Path there, because it's a place that was lived in. It's ruins now, and it's overgrown with this beautiful moss. Like really stark contrasts, both with the colors in that environment itself, and with the environments that connect to it.
I mean, and just the contrast with...
That's a great place for real.
Like the poison water and stuff like that, which is amazing as well. You have this beautiful scenery, which, coming out of the decrepitness of the rest of the area that you first go into, and then you come into Green Path, where it's just this bright green that just hits you in the face, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And right away, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is immediate, for sure. But it was still a dangerous place.
Yes.
It wasn't a sad and destroyed place for me yet. Obviously, it is, but it hadn't hit me that way until I sat down at that bench and just listened to the track and sat there with that other character for a little while and really let everything I'd seen, everything I'm about to see, soak in. And I get up and I continue.
I mean, whenever the first time one of those bushes came alive, I was like, no.
Yeah. Amazing. There's one quest in particular that I think just solidifies. I know this world. This is it.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yep. Here we go, guys. The fragile flower. What a wonderful, awful quest that is.
That is the exact words.
While you're doing it, you're just like, this is stupid. I hate this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. But when you finish, you're like, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever
it's
done.
like it's so late in the game usually, and it just reinforces that exactly. Yeah. And I discovered the area you're supposed to bring it to first. And I was like, what is this place? What is it talking about? Does it have something to do with the Trader Lord? Like, what is going on? And you put those pieces together, and you bring this thing that whole way. It's just...
And I remember I didn't discover that place first, so I was like, I don't know where I'm supposed to bring it. She's like, hey, here's this flower. Bring it to this place. I'm like, where is that? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So later on in the game, I came back to the... There's a quest in this game.
It's a side quest,
a side quest. It's like you go down in this place and then up into a secret place, and you wall jump up there, and there's this really tall woman who I don't know.
He was very sad.
Who's very sad. He says, hey, can you bring this flower to this gravesite for me?
Yeah.
But it's a fragile flower.
But if you get hit... Once. You have to basically bring it across the entire world. You can't travel.
Is this under the city? You kind of go in the sewers and you come back up into the city.
Yes.
And she's like in her room by herself.
Yeah. I
don't think she gave me a flower.
No,
I don't
you
remember
might
getting a flower.
Actually, isn't it next to the ancient burial area? I thought it was next to that.
Yeah, I think the ancient burial is to the right.
She's tall.
She sounds
it's
familiar.
A white gowned lady. And if you bring the flower, if you go back to her with the broken flower, she'll go, ah! And it's just so sad and heartbreaking, and she's like, well, here's another flower.
So often.
Yeah, because you will fail so many times.
That's something I'd like to touch on for a minute. These are not voice actors. These are just like the folks at the studio doing weird noises. But they all work so well.
Bafanaga.
No, my favorite is the moth.
Oh, dude.
When you, when she's like excited about something. I'm not gonna make the noises.
Come on. I like the Mighty Zote, of course.
He's very silly.
I love with that flower mission. I kind of watched you do it a couple times. Like, no, I'm just gonna leave you alone with that and just go somewhere else.
I don't remember getting a fragile flower.
But
Amanda's
like, I'm just gonna let you yell at the screen in peace. Go ahead and go back. I'm glad you mentioned that quest. I was about to.
Yeah. Another one last thing I'd like to touch on, just as far as the openness of this world goes. There's this little place. It's really close to the beginning. You go down to this area. You fight like just a fat bug, and when you kill him, more bugs come out of him. And he's just like a really easy, simple boss that bounces around when he gets angry or something like that.
You say simple. I die to that thing so much.
Amanda's learning.
Okay, well, I encountered this boss the first time, when I was 70% through the game.
No
So
way.
I had like a super upgraded
Isn't
weapon.
that how you get the shop?
Yeah, you get the shop. There's like another place that you can go that gets
Like charm upgrades?
yeah, that gives you charms and upgrades and stuff. I just hadn't found this place. So I
What
had a
boss is
really
this? I was distracted.
The
My mind
Gru's
went
mother,
somewhere.
where it's like up and down.
What?
Yeah, the
Never mind.
second boss, basically.
First boss.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's like-
yeah. I missed him until like super far into the game. So it took me like 6 hits. Like I had
Just
like
obliterated
the
him.
charge hit and stuff and the dash hit where I could just like poof, poof, oh, he's dead. That was the easiest thing I've ever done. What a dumb boss.
I see. Because I ran into him that he was my second boss. So
Yeah,
I
pretty
understand now.
intentionally the second boss.
Yeah, and so I finally went down. I was like, this would have been helpful. Like, it's the guy that sells the light, and I went through that whole place in the dark. I found all of the
No
spikes
way.
by falling on them, going back, killing somebody, healing, and I memorized the
Oh
entire
my
deepness
goodness.
Wow.
because I went there without a light. It was
You're a masochist.
Crazy.
it was rough, but I did it, and I loved it because I thought this is just how you're supposed to do it. Let's do this.
Did any
That's
of you
insane.
deposit money with the bank lady?
I did
Yes.
the first time I played. Yes.
Stupid bank lady.
I never did, and so she was just always there. Like I was like, no, I'm good. Like that's fine. Like I don't really need to put any money in here. And then I was watching a YouTube video and I'm like, what? She's like a thief? Like what?
Yeah,
How-
so for context, they sort of do the Dark Souls thing. You drop your items and you can do a corpse run when you die, or you can put some of your money in the bank. You can put all your money in the bank if you'd like, and she'll hold it. So you can go back and get it in case you die. You know, if you're getting ready for a pretty difficult run, you can deposit your money. But once you deposit enough money, she's out of there. That bank that she has is just a front.
Crumbles.
Literally just a front. Because it's a cardboard cutout that falls over, and you've got to go find her, and she uses your money to go into the like bathhouses and just chill.
And you can kill her, right?
You straight up kill her and get a ton of money. It's
Well, it's your money.
yes.
But you
I don't.
just
I mean,
kill
I
her.
deposited like 3,000 geo in one go. I was like, I really don't want to lose this, and I gave it to her. I was like, where did she go?
Yeah, but isn't it? Doesn't she leave after you? There's like a total you have to reach.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty large, like
But I
15 or
deposited-
something.
All 3,000
Yeah.
at the same time. And she,
Oh my
I think
God.
when I killed her, I got like 500. I was like,
What?
Where is the
Yeah,
rest
I don't
of
think
this?
she gives you
Oh,
all of your
I-
money back.
Katie was like, "Why are you still doing this?" I was attacking her for ages. I don't know if I got all my money back, but absolutely more than 500.
Oh.
I just kept hitting her.
Interesting.
Maybe she was like already dead, and it lets you keep hitting her body. I don't know, but I was
I don't
hitting her
know.
for a very long time.
Well, that is evil.
But, I mean, well, she stole my money. That's how Tyler deals with thieves. Nobody steal from Tyler's house. And Tyler, what are you doing? Stomp, stomp, stomp. Yes, Nick, fantastic answer. I think we were
For
all
sure.
thinking it. It's a beautiful game in every way. One of the greatest ever made.
Absolutely.
Tyler, tell me what you're thinking.
Hollow Knight. So I really enjoy Hollow
Tell me about Hollow Knight.
Let's see. I don't think I'm going to touch too much on Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, we talked about that
Episode
world.
1, please, if you'd like to hear about that.
It's a beautiful world.
Someone's got to say it.
Someone's got to say it.
Someone's got to say it. So I'll say
Someone
Breath of the
has.
Wild.
Good man.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I took a pretty big hiatus from video games, which I think I've already mentioned once. I haven't been playing open world games. And, it was maybe a year and a half. Maybe I had played 3 games in that time. 3 video games. And I came back to Breath of the Wild. And I had not experienced a video game like that since I was a small child. And when I say a video game like that, I mean like I had not had that kind of experience.
Yeah.
Because obviously I've played open world games. It doesn't do too much in that structure, I think. The world itself is incredible, and that's where the magic really hit me. I was experiencing a video game like a kid for the first time, and it really sets up the tone of the game right in the beginning. We all know it. You walk out onto the cliff for the first time, the camera pans up, and there is all of Hyrule there for you to see. And it didn't hit me for a while, actually. You know, that's a beautiful shot, sure, but I came into it with a pretty cynical mindset. It's like, this game is not what you guys are saying it is. Chill out, everyone else. It's just an open world game. Nintendo making an open world game? Please. But sure, I'll try it. So that was really cynical, and it didn't help that, you know, it doesn't tell you anything. And it's my fault for, before the game even starts, I turn off the UI, I turn off all the hints, which I typically do. I either minimize the UI in some way or just turn it off, and I usually turn off hints and things. So, and that's a great part of the game that doesn't really tell you anything. But it goes so far in that direction that something you experience really, or you're supposed to encounter really early on, is the guy that gives you upgrades for your inventory.
Yeah.
I was probably around 40 hours in before I found him.
Yeah, same
which
here,
means
man.
I had a couple hundred Korok seeds, and I went from whatever the base is, like 6, right, to like high teens.
Yeah, of course.
In like one moment.
It's fantastic, and just the variety in that game. How you explore the world is fun. Riding on your shield, gliding around places, climbing
the constant
mountains.
discovery, not just in the world, but how to be in the world. That's the 2 modes of discovery happening in conjunction is really something that you don't get very often.
Yeah, part of the world is just finding something new and being able to explore that thing. And the world is so incredibly designed to where it doesn't need markers. It doesn't need waypoints, because you just look and go, that looks interesting, and they'll reward you for it. That looks interesting, they'll reward you for it. I want to check that out. Go ahead, we're going to reward you for it. Like, it's just so simple and so engaging. And I just, every time I pick that game back up, I'm immediately really just special. Drawn back in every sense. And there's always something unique, like the dragons, chasing the dragons, or
seeing them off in the distance.
Oh my goodness!
The first time I saw one, I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't even catch it the first time because I was just dumbfounded. I'm like, "How do I get up there?" Like, I was so excited.
Apparently, there's like actually a mission for one of these dragons. Did either of you do this?
I didn't do the mission. No.
Okay.
Oh wait, the snow one.
Yes.
Back up just a bit. I have a hard time seeing Nick.
I need to make sure I'm talking on my.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Did you do this?
Sorry. The one in the snow I did.
Yes.
Isn't there a mission for all of them?
I don't think so. I think it's just that
I
one.
know the yellow one does not have one.
Sorry, I forgot about you, Mike. It doesn't matter.
No, it's okay.
I didn't do this until my 3rd playthrough of the game.
3rd?
Yes. It's just, you don't have to do it, but it is an amazing moment. It
Huge
is
spectacle.
Beautiful. You have to do this like gliding around with them, and
it was incredible.
Man.
That's spectacle on par with Shadow for sure. I that was awesome, and I did it way late into my first. No, it was my 2nd playthrough, because on my 2nd playthrough, so I put about maybe 120 hours into the game, which is crazy. 10 hours is a long game for me, and that I put my life into that game for a little while. And so it was the 2nd playthrough that I put another 40 hours into that game. I explored the first 2 parts of the map because I was doing everything, not fast traveling either. No fast travel for my 2nd run, and I only got around to before I finally put it down, exploring 2 parts of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so brilliant.
Was one of them.
Yeah, that never has like an open world begged to be explored that much, you know. And I mean, Nintendo is so good at just guiding you without making you feel guided.
Oh man,
yeah.
You know, and it's really special. That game is just, obviously, it's Breath of the Wild.
I'm not skeptical for Breath of the Wild 2. We're gonna enjoy it, I'm sure.
I am prepping to not enjoy it as much as I.
Yeah, you have to. How can that happen again? And it looks like it's going. We don't know, but it looks like it's going to be set in that version of Hyrule again.
Yeah.
So how can you have
I mean,
that experience again?
I'm happy to be surprised, of course, but
obviously, definitely. If you can do that twice, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm not anticipating it. It's like Uncharted 2. I mean, it's going to be a much bigger example, but Uncharted 2 was something new, something so big. How is this being done on a console? and there was new tech in that game, and the third one comes out, and it is technically a better game. Great character moments in that, really awesome set pieces, but you can't strike twice.
Sure, but then you have Uncharted 4.
Sure, I haven't played it yet. I purchased all of the PS4 games worth having. I played Tetris.
Yeah. So let's just wrap up. I think of all of us, I'm the one who's hit the most open world games.
Probably.
I played The Witcher 3. I've played
the most games.
Potentially, yeah. I played The Witcher 3, Red Dead 2. I've been trying to think of which one I want to talk about. I like Death Stranding a lot. I think that world fits its gameplay loop perfectly and keeps you engaged for 50 hours. It's insanely well designed. But I'm actually gonna pick Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
And it's for it particularly, maybe not. Let me back up a little bit. There are open worlds that I like better. Probably there are open worlds that like serve the game better. Again, both of Kojima's open world games, I think the world is built to serve the gameplay incredibly well.
Which is not something you get. I wanted to mention that when you mentioned Death Stranding. That's not something that open world games are typically doing.
Correct, and that's why I really like it. Like Death Stranding in particular, like that world is built for those mechanics.
Yeah, like the game happens inside of most open worlds, but Death Stranding,
even the pacing,
the open world is the game.
Yeah, even the pacing of the missions and where you go, right, is built for that, and the different environments and terrains. But I'm gonna pick Red Dead 2 because we haven't mentioned that the open world games can do this, where there's an entire life and ecosystem in that world. Everything is happening, even if you're not there. And I straight up, there are two things in this game that I spent more time doing than the actual story. I think by the time I finished this game, I had like a 65, maybe 70 hour playtime. The first was just play poker. I played poker so much in that game.
I anticipate playing Gwent so much when I I finally get around to Witcher.
That's like you have to do. I'm gonna play the Witcher playthrough and I'm gonna play Gwent playthrough because you really just have to just invest all your time.
I suppose I could just go play Gwent.
You could, but it's really fun to discover the cards and like build up your deck.
But aren't the characters on the cards like, oh look, I'm collecting Siri?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's very odd.
I'm sorry
No, but I picked Red Dead 2 because the other thing I spent all my time doing was just hunting. I would just go out. I'm gonna hunt, sell some furs, maybe make a new coat, make a new hat, and I would just go out hunting. Not a legendary animal, not some crazy side quest. Just, I know there's some rabbits here. Okay, let me load up on this type of ammunition. Let me buy this new gun for this. Clean the gun. Let me engrave it a little bit here. And I'll just go hunt because there's a whole world. You can watch the horses chase the rabbits away, and like so much is happening around you in this world. And of course, the towns are the same way. You can hold up someone in a town. And you're building your reputation in that town, and that guy will go tell somebody else, and the saloon guy will like point, look at him over there. It's really fantastic to see this world exist, whether you're there or not.
Do you have any intention of playing it online?
I do not, only because I don't really play online very often for any kind of game, though. It just seems to be, doubly the case because now you have player characters everywhere. You know what I mean?
And they just added that new. I don't know if there's like a class system because I haven't played it, but however you like pick a build, they just added a hunter or like an animal class. The goal is to build a bestiary. Everything all right over there?
Yeah. Sorry, just looking at some.
Cool.
Yeah, it's.
So I think you also forget just the random encounters.
Yeah, just like that's a great point, Amanda. Yeah.
So like one of my favorite ones I know is that you can be like riding and you see this a wagon on the side and these two guys are just like, okay, come on, let's see what we can do, and they pull out a stick of dynamite and you see this all happening. Now you can keep riding and ignore it entirely, or you can ride up to it and before you even get there they blow themselves up and they just have a chest right there for you, and you're just like, sweet. So you do the dynamite correctly, you stick it on there and you run away like these people should have. and you have free stuff.
They're like arms or like on
Yeah.
the ground, like, and it's just there's no guarantee you'll ever see this in the game. One of my favorites was I was riding really late at night. I hadn't slept. You're supposed to go to sleep and feed yourself and keep yourself sustained. But I hadn't been doing this, and I run into see a shining light. I'm like, oh, what is that light out in the woods over there? And they're initiating a new KKK member.
Oh.
And I just walk in there, striding up, my big old cowboy walk, and the cross falls over and crushes one of the dudes in the middle of the ceremony. And they're like, oh, dang it. And they're all super mad about it. But you're up in their business like, what are you doing here? Get on out of here. You suck. And I just waited for them all to disperse. And there was the leader right in the black outfit. And I'm just waiting. He just starts walking away. He's like, well, you could have saved him. You could have stopped that. What's wrong with you? And he starts walking away. I wait. I pull out my rifle, check the bullet. Wait for him to be like as far away as possible, and then bam, headshot. Just take him out from like yards away.
Okay, but also, so of course in this game, it's good and bad karma, so you can be the good cowboy or the bad cowboy.
And there's a little bar at the bottom. It's like, oh, look at you! You chose to not rob that person. You're such a good person.
And most of the NPCs in the game, you shoot.
Yeah.
You get bad karma. He shot the KKK guy. And he
got
good karma.
You mean they're taking a political stance?
It's just so funny because it's like, I don't care what happens, and then you're like, ding, positive karma. But yeah, that's what it is for me. It's of all the games that I've played through open world, this is the one that feels the most like it's just things are happening, out there despite my existence, and it's cool. I like it a lot. So. Anyway, that's what we got today.
Awesome.
It's a good cast. I'm really proud of it. I'm really grateful that Amanda could join us today.
Yeah,
grateful to get Nick's beautiful face in front of the camera. So yeah, just remember, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Think about maybe contributing on Patreon. Get that $2 tier. Remember, $2 a month. You can join our Discord. Get a lot of good stuff that we're playing for that.
Yes,
so
we really like to build this community. We'll be in there as well. Monthly playthroughs we're currently thinking about.
Yep,
and as that community builds, certainly get some polls going. Really incorporate you guys in the sharing of games.
Yeah, so
that's
you
what we're
can
here
tell
for.
us what you like to share with us, what you want us to start thinking about and talking about. Get you involved in the conversation. That's a huge thing for us. So, yeah, super good. Glad to have you guys. We're going to be talking about cyberpunk games on our next episode. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So stay tuned. Take it easy.